Okay, welcome everybody to the presentation today. I'm Trevor. I'm going to be your host and your presenter, and we're going to be talking about something that concerns mostly new eBay sellers, and it has to do with PayPal. Let me maybe start by just kind of painting a picture for you. And this might have happened more in kind of the early days of eBay, but imagine for just a second that I'm a new seller on eBay. I go on just today. I created my account, right? And then I got on and I created my PayPal account. So I'm ready to sell, right? And so I jump onto eBay and I put up this really nice television, giant flat screen. It's a 54-inch, plasma TV. I'm selling it for say $1,500. I really mark it down. So let's say this is usually worth much more. It's usually worth, close to 2,000, but I've got it for 1,500. So people are flocking to my listing, and somebody goes ahead and buys it, right? At that point, if they buy it, they send me funds. They'll go in and pay for it through PayPal. They'll send me that money, either using a credit card or just using their PayPal account. They'll send me that $1,500, right? So boom, I've got that sitting in my PayPal account. What stops me at that point? Now let's take a minute and pretend like I'm not the most honest person in the world, right? Set up this account, and my sole purpose was to never ever even send out that TV. I created this account, so I created this fake listing to trick somebody into buying my TV at a big discount for $1,500. They paid me, and then I transfer that money out of PayPal right there on the spot. Transfer it to my checking account, because that's how it works, right? You can connect a bank account to it, transfer that money out, and then never send the TV. My account's closed down, and boom, I just made myself a slick, $1,500, right? Like in theory, guys, could that happen? I'm going to ask you guys this, because is that able to happen? Like, could you go on and create this elaborate scam for yourself if you wanted on PayPal? Because doesn't all that seem kind of reasonable? Like in theory, it sounds like I could do that, right? But is there anything that would prevent me from getting away with that if I was this dishonest person looking to make a quick $1,500? And if so, what is it? Or maybe there's not, and there's lots of these scammers out there. Certainly hope not, and I know that's not the case. But what do you guys think? Possible? Not possible? Some of you guys are like, wow, Trevor, that's a good idea. I mean, I'm setting up an account today, and I'm going to make a quick $1,500. I know that's not the case. None of you guys would do that. Unfortunately, the world is filled with some dishonest people, and I think there was a time where that kind of thing actually was possible, and happened a lot on the internet, kind of in the early days. Not so much anymore. Karen, you make a good point. PayPal and eBay have checks and balances to prevent this, and they do. There's no way I could have just gotten away with the scenario I just described. 15 years ago, could I have worked something out like that on the internet? Maybe, but the internet's become such a safe place to buy, and there really are checks and balances in place where dishonest people like that, they don't get very far. They certainly wouldn't get away with something like that, that's for sure. So I tell you about that right now just because it does, the fact that there's dishonest people out there that have done stuff like this in the past affect us, because it makes it to where there are some checks and balances that make it a little more inconvenient for a newer seller as they're starting on eBay. And I'll bet a lot of you guys can relate to this very issue. Have you guys ever had a situation where you made a sale, especially you guys that are a little bit newer, you make a sale on eBay, you're excited about it, you go check out your account on PayPal, and what does it say? It says the funds are pending. You guys have seen that status, surely, right? Or let me know if you haven't seen that. Most of you probably should have seen that if you're starting as kind of a newer eBay seller. It'll say pending funds. And that's what they call new seller status on eBay. There is a checks and balances system for this. So any of you guys have a new account who've made a sale, you make that sale on eBay, and you know, let's take this example. Let's say you sold something for, not $1,500, but let's say you sold something for $150. Most of you guys, you don't get access to those funds right away, right? There's a pending status. So like you'll log into PayPal and it'll say funds pending. And that's what I want to address today. What that means, how to get around it, because PayPal, in order to prevent scammers out there, if somebody sold a $1,500 TV, they would have never gotten away with it because of this system, because PayPal holds the funds temporarily. And what that means is, so let's say one of you guys bought a $150 item from me. That money goes into kind of like a holding period within PayPal, or a holding spot in PayPal, and then I actually don't get paid those funds yet as the seller. You don't have access to them. They're just kind of in this holding spot. They are my funds. Like, as the seller, those belong to me. But PayPal is just going to temporarily hold on to them, if just temporarily, just to make sure that you're not some kind of scammer, because you don't have a track record. You're a new eBay seller, so they're going to hold those funds temporarily. Let me explain this. In fact, I'm going to link. I don't know if you guys can see this very well. My screen should be shared. I'm going to zoom in just a touch. This comes directly from PayPal right here. This is their frequently asked questions page on funds availability. I'm going to link this to everybody real quick. Let me send to all. Okay, all you guys should have that link now. Oh, and Karen, I didn't even hardly notice your typos. Karen just said, sorry for the typos. She was typing one-handed while trying to keep her cat off the computer. So there you have it. Don't worry about it. I got the gist of what you were saying. All right, did you guys all get that link I just sent out? It hopefully it came through to everybody. This is the page right here. Let me just read you a couple of things. I'm going to read this part right here. It says, when some sellers receive payments, we may hold the money in their pending balance for up to 21 days. Okay? So that's an important number right there. PayPal says they may hold it up to 21 days. And this is their reason. We want to make sure that there are no problems with the orders, such as disputes, claims, returns, or chargebacks. After we determine that the order was fulfilled and the customer is satisfied, we may release the money earlier. So here's the rule. You guys have new accounts that are just starting to sell. When you make a sale, the money goes into this holding place on PayPal. And PayPal reserves the right to hold it for 21 days. That's quite a while, right? But we can actually expedite that. So it's not going to, it shouldn't take you guys 21 days to actually get paid for an item. I mean, you've gotten paid, but actually have access to those funds and be able to use them or transfer them out or pay yourself or whatever the case may be. We'll talk about how to speed that up. But am I crazy here with you guys? I know some of you guys have been selling on eBay for a little bit. Have you guys noticed this situation come up in PayPal? Have you gotten your funds put in pending status? I'm guessing some of you guys have. I just haven't heard from a lot of you saying yay or nay on that. Let me keep going while you respond. It says, if we place your money in a pending balance, it belongs to you. So that is true. It is your money, but isn't immediately available to spend or withdraw. Okay, so this spot right here, how does it work? I thought this was a good graph to look at. It says you sell an item. Number one, you sell an item to a buyer that pays with PayPal. Number two, right here, the money goes into your PayPal account's pending balance. Number three, you ship the item to the buyer or perform the service. In this case, we'd have the item drop shipped or whatever. Number 4, the buyer receives their order and has time to review it. So I get my order. I realize that it's what I bought. It's that TV I wanted. I'm happy with it as a buyer. And then number 5, it says if the buyer doesn't report any issues, your money is available in 21 days from the time they paid. And then number 6, if you, and this is the important thing, this is how you guys can expedite this, so you're not waiting 21 days to actually have access to your money. Because if you think about it, that could be problematic. If you're doing a lot of sales early on, let's say you're even selling like $100 worth a day, or $100 a day worth of merchandise. Well, I mean, if you did that without actually getting access to your $100, I mean, you could rack up $2,100 that PayPal owes you, but that you don't have access to right away. All the while, you still have to make sure you're sending out product and paying your supplier. So that's why this becomes sometimes an issue for our clients. So we don't want to have to wait 21 days. So it says here at number 6, if you mark the order as processed, your money may be available sooner than 21 days based on the estimated delivery date. So there's 2 ways, guys, that you can really kind of handle this. If you want to speed it up. Oh, and by the way, I'm getting some response here. Rhonda says all of yours are pending. Rhonda, so this applies really well to you. Kirk, you said once an item gets delivered, my funds become available. Okay, you're exactly right. So here's how to speed it up, guys. On eBay, if you make a sale and the funds are in pending status, I don't want you to have to wait 21 days, and you don't want that either. So here's the way to fix it. Once you get the tracking number from your supplier, or if you send it out yourself and you've got tracking information, just put it into eBay. Or you can actually load it into eBay or PayPal. And then what that does is, the rule is anyway, that once PayPal can verify that it's been delivered, and they'll be able to through the tracking number, they wait 3 days usually, sometimes sooner, but 3 days after it's been delivered, they'll release your money. So let's say I get something that somebody buys something from me today, right? Let's say I process the order and get a tracking number today, and I load that up into eBay. Well, let's say it takes, what is today anyway? Friday. Let's say it takes till Tuesday to actually get delivered. So it's delivered Tuesday. And then PayPal says, okay, well, we're going to wait Wednesday, Thursday, and then potentially release your funds on Friday. So really, I'll only have to wait a week to actually get access to my money if it works out that way. So once the item's delivered, 3 days after it's delivered, you're good to go. You'll get your funds. And I think, Kirk, that's probably what you've been experiencing as you've gotten your money. This part right here, why aren't my funds available right away? I won't read through that. We've already explained it. When does PayPal release my payment? That's kind of what we just talked about. So it says, if there are no problems with the transaction, the money will typically be released within 21 days after the buyer pays. That's worst case scenario. That would be like if you guys sold an item and didn't upload tracking information, didn't mark it as shipped in eBay, and then just waited 21 days. If PayPal didn't hear of any problems from the buyer, you'd get the money released to you. So it says if there are problems, such as a dispute, claim, chargeback, or return, we'll release the payment when the issue is resolved. After you fulfill the order and mark it as processed, typically the payment will be released sooner. Okay. So anyway, I mean that's how you circumvent that. You can get around that issue of not getting paid right away. This is kind of a newer thing. A few years ago, when they first released this sort of pending status, it made a lot of people mad, but you know, it's only something you guys need to deal with temporarily. So let me sort of give you guys the stipulation here, because you're not always going to have to deal with this. In fact, whenever I make a sale on eBay right now, they release the money to me the minute the sale is made. And they do that because I have a history of making sales on eBay, and PayPal trusts me. They know I'm not going to be the type of person that's going to sell some big item and run with the money. So because I've established a regular history of good transactions, PayPal doesn't worry one bit about me. They release the money right when it's sent to me, so I can have access to it, which I really like, because that means if I'm selling an item for $100, That $100 comes right to me after it gets sold, and then I can use my PayPal account to go right to my supplier and use PayPal to pay for it, because I've actually got that $100 from my buyer, or from my buyer. So then I pay my supplier $50 or whatever it is, and then I'm left with my profit right there sitting in my PayPal account. So it's kind of nice for an accounting standpoint, and just for an ease standpoint, convenience sake. It's nice when you get the money released to you right away. Here's the rule, and I'm going to also copy you guys on this link. This comes from eBay's official sort of like funds availability page. And I'm going to zoom in on this and highlight this section right here. Okay, can you guys see that okay? I'm going to just zoom in just a little bit more, make that bigger. There we go. All right, so all three of these things need to happen. So new seller status. If you guys have pending funds, you guys still have what's called new seller status, okay? So new seller status ends once you've met all of the following criteria, okay? This one right here, number one, it's been more than 90 days since your first successful sale. So you've got to wait at least 3 months from the day you start till they'll actually give you this opportunity to have your money released right away. 90 days. So there's nothing really you can do to get around that. You have to wait 3 months. But during that 3 months, you need to have completed more than 25 domestic sales transactions. So I guess more than, I think you have to do 26 in that wording. So you've got to do 26 transactions. So it's not like you could just sell one item during that 90 days, and then after the 90 days elapses, you automatically get funds released. They want to see a pattern, so they want to see 26 successful transactions, okay? And then in addition to that, they can't be 26 really cheap items. So they want to see at least $250 in total sales. So I had a client once that didn't actually adhere to this one right here, this $250 one, and over their first few months, to try to circumvent it, they just sold a lot of really cheap stuff. We're talking like baseball cards, basketball cards, that kind of stuff. And they didn't release the money to them, or they didn't give them that out of new seller status because they didn't reach the $250 threshold. They probably did like, I don't know, $80 or $90 in sales, and so eBay just wanted to see a little bit more than that. So you guys have to meet all of this criteria. The truth is, if you're doing this right and you're being aggressive and you're selling aggressively with us, like none of this is going to be an issue. You're definitely going to be closing more than 26 sales in 3 months. If we're not doing that, we're doing something wrong. And we better be doing more than $250 in sales those first few months, or we're definitely doing something wrong. The thing that holds us up our clients on this is the 90 days. So, I mean, that's fine. Wait your 90 days. After that, you'll get out of that status and you'll be good to go. Now, for some of you guys, this really isn't anything but an inconvenience, right? Because when you buy the item, so let's do another example. Let's say it's this $150 item that you sell, and I buy it from you. So you've got this $150 item. I come and buy it from you, and that $150 goes into your pending status, right? So you don't actually have access to that. So that would mean that you have to float the $150, or at least, you have to go find enough money to go buy the item from your supplier to have it shipped out. So if this is a drop ship order, and let's say your cost from your supplier is $75, you can't use the $150 right away to pay for that. You have to come up with some other money to pay for the $75 from your supplier. So the only time this is really more than an inconvenience to my clients is if you don't have any credit or something, right? Most of us will just, I would just use a credit card, put the $75 on my credit card, buy it, have it shipped out. My customer's then happy, 7 or 8 days later, if I've uploaded the tracking number and PayPal can confirm that it's been delivered, then I get that $150 released to me. And then I can just take a portion of that $150, just pay off my credit card, and then I'm left with my profit sitting in PayPal. Of course, I guess if we're talking some technicalities here, I wouldn't actually get $150, right? I would get $150 minus 2.9% and 30 cents because that's going to be PayPal's fee. So anyway, that's a technicality, but I won't see 150 come in. I'll see 150 minus that amount. So anyway, that's the only time it's a concern. If you guys just have a tiny bit of credit on like a credit card or something, you can put your sales on that card, and then a week later, once all your funds have been released, go in and pay off your card. So you're never actually carrying any kind of a balance or anything. You have to float it temporarily on something. Once the 90 days elapses and you've done the things that we've talked about today, you can just use you can get one of those PayPal cards. I don't know if you guys have seen those, but PayPal issues like a debit card, like a debit MasterCard you can use. I'm looking at one right now. I've got one right here in my wallet. I like it because I use it and it just debits money right out of my my PayPal account. So you can cash flow everything. If I make a sale and my supplier is Walmart, Walmart accepts PayPal. So I make the sale, I make $150, it goes in my PayPal, I go to Walmart, order it. Let's say the total order is $80. I just cash flow it right there on the spot. So you guys will all get to that point, but you got to jump through some of the hoops just to make sure you guys are legit. And yeah, it's a little inconvenient, but honestly, don't you want a little inconvenience for in exchange for some trust, right? Because if these systems weren't put into place, there wouldn't be nearly as many people that are out there buying on eBay because they wouldn't trust the system because scammers could get away with stuff. So it's a good thing. It's just a little inconvenient at the start. You'll think about it a few times over the first 3 months, and then after that, you'll never even think about it. So anyway, let's see. Comments on that, guys? Like questions or comments on this issue right here, the pending fund status. That's really what I want to talk about today. I'm going to make a couple other comments and then we're going to finish up, but hopefully this has at least been enlightening. If you didn't know this was going on, at least you know now and you know how to circumvent it, so you can not deal with the inconvenience, I guess. Has it been a problem for any of you guys so far? Like, I've had a couple of clients over the years that come into the program and they're pretty maxed out financially, and so I guess the way around it then is, if you've got just a little bit of credit, start small, make a few sales and run it on your credit card, and then a week later when you get paid, pay off the card, take that extra bit that you've made and pay down the card a little more to free up more space, and gradually you can just pay off any credit card debt you have that way. I've had a few other clients just go out and apply for a small line of credit just for this purpose. Like you could get a little $500 credit card or a $1,000 credit card, and then you could just run all your transactions on that. I've had a few clients do that. But that's only if you're really strapped financially. If you've got some credit available, I mean, I'm not a big fan of paying interest on a credit card either, but that's not what we're going to be doing here. We'll put our sales on the credit card and then we'll just pay it off. I actually like to do that anyway, guys, because I have one of those Fidelity investment credit cards where I get 2% cash back. So every time I make a sale and I go buy it from a supplier, I use my credit card anyway a lot so I can get my 2%. And 2% may not sound like much, but if you're doing $15,000 in sales every month, 2% is still $300, right? Like that's a little bit of money. So it's definitely something to consider. Okay, well, any other comments, concerns, questions about this real quick before I just touch on one other topic? You guys feel like that makes pretty good sense? Right? Not too complicated, I guess. Kirk said, your issue right now, Kirk, is just trying to get your money out of PayPal into your bank account. Is that what you're saying? Because I know when you transfer money from PayPal, it takes a couple of days for it to get over to your bank account. I think they reserve like 3 days or something to transfer it out. There's different ways to transfer money out of PayPal, but if you connect your credit or your bank account directly to your PayPal account, you can just transfer money to and from that way. Yeah, right. Pretty straightforward. You guys are awfully quiet. It's either you guys are awfully quiet today, or this just really isn't the most riveting material, and it might be a little bit of both. It's probably more the latter. When I decided to do this topic today, I was thinking, well, it's an important topic. Like, it's stuff that you guys definitely should be aware of and know, but it's not the most fun stuff in the world. We're not talking about what's hot to sell and what products to work with. We'll do more of that. This is one of those that I wanted to make sure we took care of today to make sure you understand it. One other thing, guys, you'll notice a lot of you guys, we're kind of loose on our policy. When you first set up with PayPal, we tell you you're welcome to either set up a personal PayPal account or a business PayPal account. All right, you know what I'm talking about, right? When you go, I'll even show you real quick. When you go to PayPal, and you're going to create a new account, you sign up here at the top right, click sign up, and it'll ask you right off the bat, do you want a personal or a business account? I actually spent some time with PayPal this morning. I was on the phone with somebody there and just talking about the differences. And it actually on eBay, like, if your main purpose of setting up with PayPal is just to sell on eBay, you actually don't need anything but a personal account. Like, a personal account is fine. Like, you can sell on eBay with a personal account, no problem. Business accounts are typically better because they provide a little extra reporting. So, like, there's some other features inside your business PayPal account where you get some cool graphs and some cool reporting features. So I always tell my clients, you might as well set up a business account. PayPal will ask for they'll ask for like business information, but nothing needs to be official. You don't have to have some sort of official business name or anything. You can come here and select business and hit continue. You don't want to do PayPal Payments Pro, that's $30 a month. Just do what's called PayPal Payment Standard, and you'll hit select standard, and you can put in an email address. I'll just put in an email address that I know isn't associated with any PayPal accounts. Put in the little code, and then it wants you to create a login, and it asks for your legal business name here. You may not have a legal business name when you first start. So if you put your mouse over it, it just says enter the legal business name. If there isn't one, then enter the DBA or something that best represents what you're doing. So you could call it, like, you could make something up. I could call it TS, so my initials for Trevor Shipp, TS Global Ventures or something, and that could be my name. And I can get an official one later, but that'll at least let me set up my account. And then you're going to want a business account anyway at some point, because if you use PayPal as a means to get paid on your website, you really should have a business one, because then you can accept credit cards directly on a website using your PayPal account. So for those reasons, set one up. And you can do it online. Like, if you already got a personal account, you can change it into a business account. Or if you've got a personal account that you use just for buying stuff on your own, you shop with it or whatever, and you don't want to mix that with your business, you can definitely just set up a separate PayPal account, just create a new business one. You just have to use a separate email. That's the only rule. Everything else can be the same, just you create a separate email. So if you guys have questions about PayPal, though, seriously, they're one company I feel pretty comfortable with, because whenever I call them, I don't feel like I'm getting somebody out in some third world country that doesn't speak English very well. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I get to talk to somebody who is in their office and knows things pretty well. That's been my experience so far. So I'm just going to give you their phone number right now. If you guys want to write it down, it's 1-888-221-1161. Again, that's 888-221-1161. Call them up. They're helpful if you have any concerns or issues with PayPal. We'll probably cover more of the reporting and stuff later, but this is plenty. This is all I really wanted to show you guys today. Okay, well, let's finish up. I'm going to stop the recording. For those of you guys who are watching this recorded, thanks for coming, and we'll see you next time.